All right. Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is There No One Else? I play Elder Scrolls Online on the Xbox. Um, I am here today to show you my guide video for Magicka Sorcerer. Now, there are a bunch of people that have come out with builds like this, like what I'm running. A bunch of people have been running this for a while now. I'm not going to claim I came up with this or anything like that. There are a bunch of different ways to play this uh, with skills, with different gear sets. So instead of coming out with a definitive build video like you must be running this, Magicka Sorc is so powerful, and it's got a very versatile skill set to where you can run a lot of different things. So with this video, I want to dive into what I'm running, what you can run for alternatives, because like I said, there are a bunch of options, and get us to a point to where we have information now, and when the patch changes and a bunch of stuff changes and you have to adjust your Magicka Sorc, or if you're just getting into Magicka Sorc, you know where to go. You at least have information now to where if you want to create your own build, you'll know where to go next patch. So that's what this is for. This video is going to be rather long because there are so many things to discuss about Magicka Sorc. So with all that being said, I'm going to jump right into it. As far as gear goes, I'll go right down the line. Right now I'm running the Maelstrom's Inferno Staff Sharpened. This is it is the best one-piece Destro staff in the game. If RNG awards you with this staff, it's not easy to get. So, I like to try and incorporate it in my builds just for that reason. But yeah, it is a very powerful one piece. So we are running that. Damage Magicka poisons on the front bar. You don't have to run any poisons, but there are some builds out there that they just have unlimited sustain right now in CP. So this helps against them. Run what you want. As far as the back bar, we are running 5 Lich. Now, ideally, your Resto staff you want to be defending gives you more resistances on your back bar. As far as gear that I've run, I've tried 5 Seducer, I've done 5 Lich, I've done 2 different 5 pieces. I've done 5 Necro, 5 Seducer, I've done 5 Lich, 5 Necro, I've done Seducer, Spinner, Seducer, a max Magicka setup for bigger shields. I've tried basically everything. Like, I wanted to run a setup that not everybody was running, but the problem is there are a few sets for Sorc that are just way stronger than everything else, and if you want to play this class to the best of its abilities in PvP, you kind of have to be running those, and 5 Lich is one of them. So the Magicka recovery is just crazy. Unlike a Magicka DK where we get resources back off of our ultimate, we want the bigger burst of Magicka. Cost of abilities for a Sorc are lower than a Magicka DK, so Lich really does help for this class in filling out your Magicka when it drops to a low level. Definitely much better than Seducer in my opinion. Plus you can backbar it. You can wear 4 on the body or run 3 jewelry, 1 body, and then backbar the Resto staff for the 5 piece. And when you switch to your backbar, you proc this. So then that gives you room to fit another 5 piece on your front bar with a 2-piece monster set. So Lich allows you to fill out another 5 piece as well as have a 2-piece monster set, which is not something Seducer can do. You guys just saw my Ruby Ash bow. I'm going to be selling that for $1 million gold in a couple days here, so look out for it in the traders. Alright, as far as 2-piece monster set goes, I've run Infernal Guardian, I've run 2 Max Magicka, I've run 1 Max Magicka, I've run 1 Max Magicka and Spell Damage, Magicka Recovery. I've decided to go Crafted before. I've run just about everything because, I didn't want to go the route everybody else is running and run Pirate Skeleton. Even, I wanted to find something unique in my own thing. But after trying everything else, I was like, okay, well, let's give Pirate Skeleton a try. I put on Pirate Skeleton, and honestly, for open world PvP, it's hands down the best monster set to go to for a Sorc. Like, it's not even close. There's no two-piece out there currently that is better than Pirate Skeleton. Um, the two-piece says, when you take damage, you have a 6% chance to transform into a skeleton and gain major protection and minor defile for 12 seconds, reducing your damage taken by 30%. The reason that is so powerful for a Sorc right now is that 30% damage reduction not only applies to your health when your wards are down, it also applies to your wards. So your wards are essentially 30% stronger when Pirate Skeleton goes off. The 6% chance looks low, but if anybody has any sort of dots on you, if you're in a 1vx situation against 2 or 3 people, and somebody hits you with a Vampire's Bane or an Entropy or something like that, any sort of dot poison injection, this buff lasts for 12 seconds, and it has a 15-second cooldown. So basically 3 seconds are, when you have 2 to 3 people on you, you almost have this up all of the time. So you get really tanky in a 1vx situation, which works out really well. Like in a 1v1, you don't really need it, so it's not that big of a deal anyways. But when you're outnumbered, if all of a sudden a Nightblade jumps on you and you're getting piled on, this is going to proc a lot, and this is going to save your life to allow you to get out, get to a new area, to reapply your buffs, reset yourself, and go back to doing damage. This set is really, really strong right now. It's dumb. They're nerfing this. This will not be viable. I don't think it'll be viable for Sorc's next patch, but maybe people will still run it. We'll just have to see what the total buffs are. But right now, Pirate Skeleton is a no-brainer. 5 Lich, and then I am also running 4 spinners on the front bar for the max magic, and spell damage. Now, with Lich, you can run 2 5 pieces. You can run 4 body Lich, back bar, and then that leaves you 3 jewelry and 1 body, and then your Destro staff. Now, you can run spinners. I'm obviously running the 4-piece. I do have the 5-piece staff. However, the penetration on spinners only works on people without shields. So anybody running annulment, you will not get this spell penetration off of if they're running a damage shield. Igneous. Now, Igneous isn't a huge shield, but if you're trying to 1vx a group and you have a Stam DK in there and they're hitting Igneous, or they have 2 Stam DKs and they're hitting Igneous, not only does that shield go on them, it goes on everybody around them. And so although you do hit hard, especially really hard against like heavy armor targets, your wards just, I would just rather personally have the flat damage, so that if I run across another Magicka Sorc, if I run across a Magicka or Stamina DK, I'm doing more flat damage to them. Ideally, the best 5-piece that you could run would be 5 Burning Spellweave. I'm sure everybody knows what Burning Spellweave is. It is the best in slot. One of the best in slot, if not the best in slot, Magicka PvE DPS sets in the game right now. It procs plenty with just your Fire Staff and Force Pulse. So if RNG blessed me and gave me a sharpened Inferno Staff of Burning Spellweave, that's what I would be running. I don't care to do a Burning Spellweave farm 50 to 100 more times for a Destro Staff. So I'm running 5 or 4 spinner right now for the max magic, and then spell damage, and then I'm running the 1-piece Maelstrom for more spell damage. Yeah, you can definitely run both. Those aren't bad options. You can definitely run Martial Knowledge, 3 jewelry, 1 body, Martial Knowledge with a Destro Staff. If you wanted to run a pet build, you could run Necro. I don't like pet builds personally. I don't like the playstyle, so I don't run it. You could run 4 Necro here and get a little bit more max Magicka and make your wards bigger. Your wards scale off of your max Magicka. But because we're wearing Pirate Skeleton and we're already so tanky as it is, I prefer to go with a little bit more damage. Spinners gives us slightly more damage than Necro, because that 121 spell damage is better than the 911 max Magicka for the 4-piece. So we're going in with a little bit more damage here, just because we're already so tanky. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, as far as skills go, on our back bar, we were running Healing Ward. This is our heal. It's in the rest of the skill line. It's a ward. It gives us a good heal. It can't be crit. When we drop to lower health, it's a bigger shield. We're even harder to kill. Must have for this type of setup. We're running Harness Magicka. Harness Magicka is a pretty good shield. It also restores Magicka when you are hit with a spell damage ability, so it helps with your sustain a little bit. This is very nice. You can run Dampen for a bigger shield. I like Harness for the Magicka recovery, but that's all preference. You can run either or. Hardened Ward. Hardened Ward is, your Sorc ward. It's a very big damage shield. You can see your own globe absorbs 33% additional damage. This is a very big shield. I have it on my back bar. Some Sorcs put it on their front bar because it also can proc your crystal fragments. And so if you have this on your front bar, like in a dueling situation, you can proc a lot more frags than how I currently have it. And, you rattle off more bursts that way. I'm not used to that playstyle. I've always back barred my wards. I've always had it this way. I find that if people jump on me, I want to be on my back bar anyways. I want to have the ability to stack all 3 wards at the same time, have really big shields, and then get out of there. I'm just not used to the rotation of having one on my front bar and then going to my back bar, applying my other wards, etc. So, yeah, that's why I have it that way. Now, this is your filler piece. If you're playing in a group and you're running across a large group of people and you need to, you want to bomb them and take them out, Restraining Prison's good. Rune Prison is also good in like a dueling situation, especially against like really tanky DKs. This goes through block. It CCs them. It is a very good single target skill. You can have the defensive rune to where if you're 1vxing and you have this up, if somebody snipes you from far away, it CCs them. You see where they're at. You can go focus them if you have to. This is a very good skill that you can fit in here. Daedric Minefield, obviously very strong. I used to run this basically all the time. You put your mines down, you try and put them down in a corner or in a doorway, really get them grouped up. Have somebody jump in, they hit 2 or 3 of these things, and they do a ton of damage, and literally all it takes is like a Mage's Wrath or an ultimate or, a proc frag and they're dead. Daedric Minefield is very powerful. Definitely good. Definitely worth having on that part of the bar. And then what I normally have been running lately is Boundless Storm. Now, I used to run mines all the time. Mines were my go-to, but lately, with snares the way they are, with people the way they are, I like the Boundless Storm. It's an AoE, smaller AoE than Hurricane, obviously, but it can proc Implosion, which is very powerful on a Sorc. It gives you movement speed, and it gives you increased resistances. And honestly, like these resistances with Pirate Skeleton are very useful. You don't get bursted as easily with running this. You're a little bit faster. You do a little bit more damage. It's a very nice skill. I've come to really appreciate that. And then Power Surge for our major sorcery. Now our front bar. Here's where we're going to start discussing skills that you can run or not run or whatever. Crystal Fragments. Crystal Fragments is a must-have for a pet build or whatever. This is the hardest hitting class skill we have, and it's one of the hardest hitting skills in the game. I don't have food up, and you see that I'm doing 13,000 magic damage buffed. With food, I'm doing a little over 14,000. Currently, if we proc a frag, which is, I'll show you the animation here in a second, if I can get it. There it is. All right, you see how my hands are glowing just a little bit? That means I have a proc frag. Now, if we proc a frag, what that means is we do 20% more damage on our frags. So 14,000, 20%, that's another 2,800. We're doing almost 17,000 crystal fragments with a proc frag that costs 50% less magic. It helps with our sustain, and we hit harder. Yeah, like this isn't even like a super hard hitting setup, and we're hitting 17,000 with our crystal frags. It is a very hard hitting skill. Now they are nerfing this down to 10% next patch, so we're going to go from 17,000 crystal fragments to 15,500. It's really not that big of a deal. We're hitting so hard anyways with everything that we have that this was a needed change, I think. Yeah. Now, I front bar streak because I back bar my wards. You can go with either morph here. Both morphs are very good for different reasons, and that doesn't happen with many skills in this game. I will discuss, how to use both of them here, and then you guys make your own decision. If you want to run Streak, in my opinion, Streak is more of an offensive skill. You use it to CC a group of people. If you're running in a group, you can negate a group of people, streak through them, stun them, keep them in the negate a little bit longer, while the rest of your buddies come through and clean them up. If you want to use Streak as like an offensive skill to CC somebody, even when you don't have a proc frag, that it's also very useful. It's a very good skill. I use Ball of Lightning, and the reason I use Ball of Lightning is typically I play in a smaller group. We have to kite a lot more. Sometimes we can't play offensive. Sometimes we have to play defensive. We have to get into an area, and you'll be fighting two people, and all of a sudden two Nightblades come out of stealth and they start beating on you. What I like about it is when I streak with Ball of Lightning, everybody that's jumping and ambush spamming behind me, they get stunned due to the Ball of Lightning. It CCs everybody behind you. I'll just read it out loud here. Transform yourself into a pure energy and flash forward, stunning enemies near origin location for 2 seconds. So anybody that's gap close spamming, they get stunned for 2 seconds. Also absorbs any spell projectiles directed at you for 2.5 seconds. So if people are trying to hit me with frags, if they're trying to hit me with radiant, anything like that, dark flares, if they drop a meteor, I've had my Ball of Lightning absorb a meteor hit instead of me have to take it. It keeps a little bit of damage off you, and it keeps gap closers off you to where you can get the distance and get around a corner, reset the fight, and figure out what you have to do. So I think this is a very, very useful skill. I use my streak a little bit more defensively, so that's why I went with Ball of Lightning. Mage's Wrath. This execute is really strong. I'm not even buffed. I'm not buffed, and I don't have food, and you can see I have 11,000 shock damage on the explosion on the bottom. Now, the reason this skill is so powerful is because of the Sorc burst combo. Now, the typical Sorc burst combo is you apply your curse, and then you apply your curse and you try to proc a frag. So you apply a curse, you hit with a Mage's Wrath, and you hope in that time you proc a frag. So you hit with a medium destro weave, and if you do proc a frag, you hit him with a frag right before the curse goes off. So your frag hits for 17,000 magic damage because you procced it. Your Mage's Wrath, your curse, which is right here, Haunting Curse, 10,000 unbuffed, it's like 12, 13,000. So your frag's hitting for 17,000, they're on the ground, your curse goes off, they get hit for 13,000 magic damage. And if that drops them below 20% health, which it probably will, this then explodes on them. And this can also proc Implosion. So when this explodes, this could potentially proc Implosion and kill them. So Sorcs have a really strong burst combination. This class is not easy to play, but if you can get this burst combination down well, you'll just melt people in open world PvP. You'll just go and rattle kills off. It's not easy, but once you get the hang of it, it's very strong. As far as ultimates go, you can run a ton of ultimates on a Sorc. If you're running in a group player, you're running across a big group and you need to wipe them, Destro Ulti is very powerful. Destro Ulti is the strongest ultimate in the game. Big AoE. You go in there, you apply a curse to somebody, you drop a Destro Ulti, hit him with a Mage's Wrath, hit him with a frag, knock him down. The Mage's Wrath, if they drop below 20% health, which they probably will with Eye of Flame, the Mage's Wrath will explode. Very strong ultimate. For other options, we were playing against a big group last night. Negate Magic or Suppression Field, the morph that does damage. This is either the second or third. This is 2A or 2B for most powerful ultimates in the game right now. The other ultimate that's close to this is the Healing Ulti by Templars. So right now, Destro Ulti is the most powerful. It's the strongest in the game. Healing Ulti negates it eliminates the ability of what a Destro Ulti does, so that's why Healing Ulti is so strong. And so a lot of people are running around with Heavy Armor Templars with how Breath of Life is, how Heavy Armor is. And you run across these groups of people that can't die because they're just spamming Breath of Life, they're popping Healing Ultis, etc. That's what makes this ultimate so powerful. It does good damage, and on top of that, anybody that's in the sphere cannot use a magic ability. So if you get them encased, if you get them snared in there, and you start doing damage and they can't get out of it, Templars are now kind of a moot point at this with this ultimate. And so it gives you just those couple of seconds to wipe a larger group of people. I'll be posting a couple clips of this, how powerful this is. But yeah, if you're running in a group play situation with 2, 3, 4 people and you're running across a large group, this is an ultimate you want on your bar. Smaller scale, Greater Storm Atronach got a huge buff. I think it's very strong right now. It's a very good ultimate. It can pull Nightblades out of stealth. The little lightning thing can. It snares them. It does a bunch of damage. So yeah, attacks the nearest enemy for 15% more damage. Yeah, it's very strong. Overload is a very strong ultimate. It does good damage, and then it gives you another skill bar as a Sorc. So if these aren't enough skills that you want in your bar, you can all of a sudden have Overload on your back bar, and then you could have access to more skills. It's kind of crazy what a Sorc can do and what they have access to. You want your Destruction Staff passives, obviously. Other ultimates you can run. If I'm running a small group, like 1 or 2 people, and we're not running across a large group of people and I do not need negate, I run the Resto ult. Your buddy gets focused, he's getting hit hard, you pop this. It's a cheap ultimate. Sorcs have a passive that gives them reduced ultimate. 85 for this. So basically when this procs, that means your buddy cannot die for 5 seconds. Very, very strong ultimate in small scale PvP. You want your light armor passives. Another ultimate you can run is Soul Assault. People have their issues with this. I understand it. It hits really hard. It's got a long tick time. The first 2 seconds, Nightblades can't cloak it. Yeah. But I mean, if you're playing outnumbered and people are zerging you over and they're snipe spamming you and they're hitting you with Destro ults, run what you want. Soul Assault's very powerful. Run what you need to run. You can run Dawnbreaker Smiting. You can run... You hit with your Curse, proc your Mage's Wrath, hit him with a Dawnbreaker, knock him down. If you proc a frag, hit him with the frag. Or knock him down with the frag, hit him with a Dawnbreaker, and you have so much burst to that combo that people just explode. And Dawnbreaker, although it is a physical damage ability, it's still very powerful on a Sorc for that reason, because it's burst, you can animation cancel it, it's right in front of you. It's very good. You can run Barrier for more max Magicka on your back bar for like another group ward. We are a High Elf. I think High Elf is the best. I don't think... You can run other classes. You can run Breton. You can run Dark Elf, or other races. You can run Breton. You can run Dark Elf. This gives you max Magicka, makes your wards bigger. It gives you Magicka Recovery, makes your sustain better. And then on top of that, you get 4% elemental damage to your shock damage. Dark Elf gives you 2. This one gives you 4. This makes your Implosion procs a little bit better. This makes your Mage's Wrath better. Makes your Force Pulse shock damage a little bit better. Yeah. It's a very, very... I think High Elf is the way to go. You want your Undaunted 9. Now, what this class has, and I'm just going to go through this really quick and then I'm going to be done, but this class has a lot of versatility. I just rattled off like 6 or 7 ultimates that you can run. I just basically said you can run literally every skill on this bar in PvP and it's useful. If you run a pet build, you can run every skill on this bar, and it's useful. Bound Armor gives you 8%. A lot of people are running Bound Armor for max Magicka on a pet build. Like every single one of these skills is useful in PvP. And every single one of these skills, well, Liquid Lightning is not. Liquid Lightning is a very strong PvE skill. I would not use that in PvP, but just about every one of these skills can also be used in PvP. So, I'm not going to sit here and say that like Sorcs are super OP or anything, but they're outperforming other classes currently because of how much damage that they're putting out and because of the versatility that they have. They have access to 2 of the best ultimates in the game with Destro and Negate. They are the best PvE DPS class in the game due to what they have access to. Yeah, so if you play this class, you have a lot of versatility. You have a lot of choices for your build, what you want to run, what skills you want to run. There are some classes in this game that they're very restricted because some of their skills kind of suck, and they're kind of pigeonholed into running certain gear and certain skills because of that reason. You're not that way with this class, which is great. Every class should vie to be like a Magicka Sorc. and have all their skills useful. I'm not saying nerf Magicka Sorc. Maybe reduce their damage a little bit, which is what they're doing, but bring all the other class skills up to Magicka Sorc so that when they play in PvP, they have access to the variety that Sorcs do. Yeah, that's my opinion. So with a Sorc, what you have is you have high damage. You have high damage, you have the best damage in the game, you have a really strong burst combo when you get it off, you have really good movement speed with Boundless Storm and Streak or Ball of Lightning, and with Pirate Skeleton and wards the way they are, you can be very tanky. Now they are getting rid of Pirate Skeleton, but in a 1v1 situation, your wards are already very big, they can't be crit. You can have 20,000 plus damage that can't be critted by shields on you at any point in time. They did reduce the proc before. They're only 6-second shields. So the weakness of this class, and the only weakness of this class, is that the learning process of playing this well initially is very difficult. The burst combination is tough to play. It's not like a Nightblade where you jump in and you hit with a bunch of abilities as fast as possible and you nuke somebody. You have to be patient with this. You have to hit your curse. You have to hit your Mage's Wrath. You have to hit with a medium attack, and you have to hope that your frag goes off. And if you don't proc a frag, then you have to wait until your next curse goes off. And so it's kind of a little bit of a waiting game on proc frags, and that's not ideal. And you have to keep your wards up every 6 seconds. So when you run around in PvP, basically you count to 5 and you have to spam this button. It's a very strong class, but I find myself getting burnt out playing this class quite a bit because in open world you have so many gankers, you have so many people running around. You really need to be focused. You're not wearing heavy armor like you are on a Stam DK or any other class in the game, basically, to where if somebody hits you really hard from stealth and you're kind of lax, you can still recover. With this setup, if you're wearing 5 light, if you get hit with your wards down, you could get nuked. You could get destroyed instantly. So definitely not saying, Sorcs have their strengths and they have their weaknesses, and one of their biggest strengths is getting eliminated next patch with Pirate Skeleton. So they're going to be a lot harder to play. They'll be a lot easier to kill. You're going to have to kite a little bit more, avoid a lot more damage than what you currently have to. But yeah, once you get down how to apply your wards, when to apply your wards, and then how to get your burst combo down, this is a very powerful class. It's great in dueling. It's great in PvE. It's great in small scale 1vx, and it's one of the best classes in the game for group play, due to negate and due to Destro ulti and your movement speed. So there are a lot of useful things to do with this class. I'm going to be coming out with with guides for how to play Sorc, and I'll be showcasing some of the stuff in a 1vx situation and a group play situation, highlighting what they can do. So yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I know it's not covering a bunch of stuff, but I wanted to get the introductory stuff down first, so we're all on the same page. It helps to start there, so that when we get to go into other more in-depth discussion, you know where I'm coming from. You know my point of view. You kind of understand where I'm coming from. You might not agree, but you do understand that this is how I'm playing. Last thing, this is without food, obviously. Let's just put a food on. We're normally running tri-stat food. I do not have that on me right now, so we'll just use the dual stat. We're gonna have a little bit more health. We're gonna have a little bit more max magicka than we normally do. If we look at our stats, fully buffed, this will be my last thing. 39.5 magicka, 1444 magicka recovery, 22k health. We're normally around 39,000 magicka, 21,000 health, 2773 spell damage. We're hitting very hard. Like I said, our crystal frags hit for about 17,000. Our curse hits for 13,000. We're hitting very hard with this, even though our max magic isn't that high. And the reason our max magic isn't at 40,000 plus is because we're not running Necro and we're not running Pirate Skeleton, or we're not running Magicka for 2 pieces. And so Pirate Skeleton makes your stat sheet look crappy, but it's just so much better. It's better than another 4,000 magicka. That's how strong Pirate Skeleton is. It makes you super tanky. So that's what I'm running, and that will be the end of this video. So have a nice day.